Hey everyone, welcome back to Alpha Insights. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Juniper. Glad you're with us today.
Quick note before we jump in. If something we say sparks a question while you're listening, drop it at stockalpha.ai. We check those and love responding.
Totally. Okay, big theme today. Policy moves gave the cannabis and hemp space a little tailwind. From state legislatures to a federal clemency action, momentum is building in different ways.
Yeah, start with the political headline. The president issued pardons that included someone convicted in a big marijuana trafficking case. It doesn't change federal drug scheduling, but it does keep criminal justice and rescheduling on front pages.
Right. That kind of move is symbolic more than regulatory. For investors, symbolism matters because it can shift political conversations and put pressure on lawmakers and regulators to act. Still, actual rescheduling or legal changes require formal processes.
Shifting to the states, Virginia made progress on a legalization sales bill. The state Senate advanced an amended version, and now it looks like they could reconcile differences with the House. If that leads to a regulated retail market, that's new, real demand.
New retail markets tend to be a multi-year growth story. Think licensed producers, distribution partners, and retail operators vying for shelf space. But remember, negotiations can change language, so market access could be delayed or altered during reconciliation.
Good point. And then in Minnesota, an administrative judge overturned a shipping restriction on hemp products, which restores direct to consumer mail sales there. That's a big deal for small brands that rely on online orders.
Absolutely. Direct-to-consumer channels are often the lifeblood for niche hemp brands. Higher margins, customer data, predictable recurring sales. Losing that channel can crush revenue, so restoring it is effectively a revenue catalyst for those companies.
Meanwhile, in Missouri, a proposed ban on intoxicating hemp products stalled after a long debate. So instead of a wave of new restrictions, we're seeing mixed outcomes. Some wins, some pauses.
Which is important because it tells you regulatory tightening is not guaranteed everywhere. Investors need to watch state-by-state legal risks. One state can clamp down while another expands access, and that creates winners and losers.
Also, a smaller but meaningful move out of Colorado. State senators advanced a measure to let terminally ill patients use medical marijuana in hospitals and other facilities. That's an access story, and it can change treatment channels for medical operators.
Access in institutional settings like hospitals is a tricky regulatory lift, but if it passes, it opens a different customer segment. That's why you hear operators talk about diversification beyond retail.
Okay, what does all this mean for investors right now? First, policy wins, like these, are constructive for demand and distribution. That tends to help sector ETFs and names with broad U.S. exposure.
Second, the Minnesota shipping decision is an immediate operational win for hemp retailers. Expect some revenue tailwinds for smaller consumer brands in that state, and possibly legal arguments in other states that could follow the same logic.
Third, the pardon keeps the reform conversation alive at the federal level. It won't move markets alone, but it could be a catalyst if it leads to hearings, rescheduling pushes, or Justice Department guidance.
And fourth, remember risk. Legislative text can change during reconciliation, judges can be overturned on appeal, and federal policy is still uncertain. That makes volatility around policy headlines something to plan for.
So, how would you position yourself, Juniper?
Balanced exposure. Use diversified ETFs to get broad sector coverage and selectively add single-name positions where you see clear catalysts. For instance, companies with strong direct-to-consumer channels or those likely to gain share if new state markets open. And keep stop discipline because policy-driven moves can be abrupt.
Totally. I'd add keep an eye on two practical calendars: the Virginia floor vote and reconciliation timeline, and any court schedules or appeals in states with contested hemp rules. Timing matters for entries.
Exactly. And watch company-level catalysts too. Quarterly results, guidance changes, and management commentary on state expansion plans. Those can move names even if headline policy is broader.
All right, quick recap. Your takeaways in 1 minute?
Policy news today was constructive. State-level progress in Virginia and Colorado, a win for hemp shipping in Minnesota, and a stalled ban in Missouri. A federal pardon keeps reform on the agenda but doesn't change law. For investors, that means cautiously bullish demand signals plus heightened event risk.
And my quick hits: watch the Virginia reconciliation, monitor court dockets for hemp cases, favor diversified exposure and selective stock picks, and use stop discipline because headlines can swing prices fast.
Got questions? We'd love to hear from you. Head over to stockalpha.ai where you can ask us anything and we'll answer live. And while you're there, check out more market content.
Thanks for hanging with us. We'll keep tracking these developments and call out any big moves. See you next time on Alpha Insights.